You are listening to the B.I.G Show with your hosts, Calvin and Garland. The B.I.G Show is a weekly breakdown of the sports world from a fan's perspective. Here are your hosts, Calvin and Garland.
It's the big show.
Big up, big up.
I'm Calvin. That guy over there is Garland. And we are back for another week. Man, we starting to get a little more consistent out here, Garland. I don't know what these people be talking about. We seem to be dropping this joint weekly like we supposed to. We was all they tried to call us the cycle show because we was dropping it monthly like the
women. Were we dropping heavy or light?
we the big show, so you know that shit was heavy. We needed
Oh my God.
What's going on, Garland?
Bro. Life is good, man. Life is good, boy. Life be lifing, but it can't steal your joy. Just keep your joy and keep moving forward and stuff. Hung out a little bit last night, went to an event at the Center Club. You used to work in that building.
I did.
And someone that does some work for me, it was her birthday, and her husband gave her a party at the Center Club. So, I had to throw on a little jacket, sports coat, and Paulie came with me, my wife, and so we went on up, and food was good. The view is beautiful. All those things is in one of Baltimore's tallest buildings, and it's at the top floor and stuff, and so makes you feel like you got some dollars. Yeah. Definitely.
It's actually the tallest building.
Okay. Is it taller than the World Trade?
Yeah, taller than the World Trade.
Okay.
They tried to make the building on Light Street that they built a few years ago across from the Visitor Center. They wanted to make that the tallest building,
that's right.
But
Right.
It did not quite make it. It's short by I used to do this. It teach this class. I can't remember, but it's short by something like a couple hundred feet.
Okay.
But yeah, it is still the tallest building downtown.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So did that, and it was nice to get out for a little bit on a Friday, and got home to watch some basketball and all that stuff. Watched a little baseball. So yeah, man, good sports weekend. It's a beautiful day. It's been raining the last several days. Shout out to Hampton University class of 1989. This weekend is our 35th class reunion. Unfortunately, I'm not there with the class. I had designs I wanted to go, but some things just prevented me from doing that. But just want to give a shout out to them. Man, 35 years ago, this weekend I was preparing to graduate from college. Man, I think I was just rocking a mustache then. I don't even think I didn't have a beard. I didn't have any gray hair. I might have had a contacts in, and so yeah, 35 years. Wow.
We might have to change the name to the Big Old Show because, son, good gracious.
Yeah.
You pushing 80,
years.
87? What you pushing, 87 now? Something like that?
Close to it. Close to it. Some days it feel like it. For real.
Just a reminder, we are on all the podcast platforms, and we are live on YouTube right now. And you can catch us live. You can, well, not live, but you can see our faces if you have Spotify and use that podcast. So I'm glad to have you all joining us. Hey, what we going to discuss today, Garland?
Hey, man, we're going to talk some playoffs. We got a little talk about some music corner, some of the awards that were just recently made in the NBA. Going to talk about do these people deserve those awards? But let's go ahead and start off with a quick little review of last night's and the previous day's events in terms of the NBA. Ant-Man and the T-Wolves there. They have a 2-1 lead on the defending champion Nuggets. The Nuggets came back, played a great game last night. I guess Jokic had to show that he was the MVP. I think he had 29. Murray had 20 plus. Their bench played very well. Gordon and Porter, who I said would probably be the determining factors, they stepped up and had great games as well. And so we both picked the Nuggets to win this series. And after T-Wolves won those 2 games in Denver, everybody was just basically writing them off. It's going to be a sweep. That's they getting swept. They're getting swept. But we both said the defending champions we had to get them. I think we both were saying either 6 or 7. And so are we still holding true on that prediction?
Ooh, I mean, it's tough. The way the T Wolves played in Denver, almost made me switch. I still got the Nuggets because they're still the champions. You gotta beat the champions to be the champions, and they proved last night that if you back them into a corner, they're gonna come out swinging because they won that game handily. Like
Yes, wasn't even close.
it wasn't even a close game. So yeah, I'm still got the Nuggets now. Tonight's game, but not tonight's game. The next game is going to be really important because either the Wolves can go up 3-1 or it can be tied 2-2. So it's an extremely important game. But I'm still with the Nuggets right now. Until you beat the champions, I still got you. But like we both said, it ain't going to be easy, and it's already proven not to be easy for the Nuggets to advance out of
It's not
this.
going to be easy. Jokic had 24, 14, and 9 dimes last night. Everybody scored in double figures, all the starters. Murray had 24 as well. Gordon had 13. Porter had 21. And Caldwell had 12. That made the world of difference. Those first two games, and Porter really did not do as much. Caldwell didn't do anything. And so they really were able to play well. Ant-Man did not have a great game. He only had 19 last night. Go
Only,
only
only,
19. Only
only.
19. This guy has been 20, 30, almost 30
Yeah.
plus all of the games and all. They did not do well. They were low double figures. Only one player didn't score in double figures for them last night, and that was Gobert. He had six, but their offensive output was not as strong. I'm sure that was a disappointing showing. You coming back home, you take two on the road from the defending champions. You got to have a better performance than that, and so we'll see what happens. I think they play on Sunday, and so we'll see what happens on that next game. Now the Mavs, they picked up a win on the road against OKC as they head home for several games. They're not sure if Luka Doncic is going to be playing. In the third game, he's had a sprained knee and some other ankle issues. What does OKC need to do to win the series?
Just be OKC. Just be OKC. Now the problem they're having is, of course, if Doncic's not going to be in, that's great for them. But the problem they're having is Kyrie is just is playing like a monster. But I think we both picked OKC to pull this
We
one
did.
out, and I think I'm still going to go with OKC. I'm not going against that. I think OKC can still do it.
Yeah, I believe the same thing. I think some of the other scorers are going to have to pick up for OKC. SGA, he had a great game. He had 33 in that game the other night. But when you look at the other starters, Holmgren only had 11. Jamal Williams did show up. He had 20, but the two guards, Giddy and Dort, they only had 8. And so you're going to need a little bit more production out of your starters to keep up with that firepower that the Mavericks had. PJ Washington, he had 29. Uh, Kyrie, that was a down game for him. He only had 9, but Luca really came out to play. But
Mm-hmm.
he's hobbled, and so you really gotta pick it up for OKC. They've got to take more advantage of their scorers, get more points on the board, especially in these games. But that was their first loss of the playoffs because they swept the Pelicans and they won that first game. And so,
Mm-hmm.
young team and they learn. And I didn't think it was going to be a sweep, but I really do like that matchup. I really think SGA is a great player. This is a kind of like a coming out. Although the pure basketball purists know he's a great player, but you don't get to see OKC on a national stage
Not at
all the
all.
time. Not at all. Unless you up late or you're a basketball junkie, then you'll get to see them, on those special channels, the NBA, prime packages and stuff like that. But you don't
I'm
see
sure
them a
that'll
lot.
that'll
Yeah,
change next season.
I
That'll
think so. I think so.
definitely change next season.
And with the thought of, because they're already talking free agency, they were talking about Phoenix and Mike Budenholzer, who is the former coach of the Bucks, just signed a 5-year deal to coach the Suns. They're thinking that possibly they might need to unload one of those big three on the team. And it's a possibility that maybe they can get Durant back in OKC. and maybe he would be a good fit for them to push them over the top because OKC has
Imagine
enough.
that.
Yeah, they have enough young talent that you can make a trade like that and get some young talent in return. And that would, KD with SGA and yeah, that's a real good team right there. And Holmgren, yeah, that's something to be reckoned with, and so we'll see what happens in the off season. But uh, these retreads, Mike Budenholzer getting another job. Although he did win a title, we gotta give it to him. He won a
Yeah.
title in Milwaukee with Giannis. I'm not ready to do my Giannis yet. I need to practice it. I know I come off like Nelson Mandela, but they hired Mike Budenholzer. But anyway, yeah, so they need to come off with some new stuff in terms of what's going to happen with these guys and how it's going to work out. And I hope it does work out, that they're able to get the players that they need. And this goes a long way to making them winners.
I think I think he got a raw deal anyway. I think Giannis got him out of
Hmm.
there because it was a season after. It's just the season after he won the title. They got rid of him. You just like, well, wait a minute. He don't need a little more. He didn't
Right,
earn a little more credit there. So
right.
it was your boy Nelson. Nelson
It was Nelson.
Nelson Giannis got him out of there.
Oh my goodness! So it was Nelson Giannis that caused that. That's all right. That's all right. All right. And so let's see. New York, they lost last night. They have a 2-1 game lead over the Pacers after taking two in the Garden. Pretty much Brunson's been carrying them the whole load all of the way. Those two wins in New York came as a at a big loss for the Knicks, because they lost two main contributors. OG Abanabi, I believe he's going to be out for the rest of the series. He had a severe strained hamstring. They lost another one of their big men to a big ankle sprain, and I don't think he's coming back for the series. He may not be back if they advance. They hit a big shot last night. It's come down pretty much to final possessions in this series. And although the Pacers, they did file a formal complaint, they had at least 70 plus incidences that they found that they feel that the proper calls were not made. You think the Pacers can maybe pull off another win in Indianapolis and take this back to New York tied up?
Yeah, I absolutely think they can. The wear and tear on Brunson, even though it's not really starting to show, at some point it's going to. I mean, he's playing hurt as it is, so
Mm-hmm.
he's already playing hurt. He's still scoring. I mean, he hit the big shot to tie the game back up last night, but then couldn't hit that final shot to tie it up again. But I do think the Pacers actually have a chance. Now, last night's game could have been a little bit of. Listen, we're not trying to see any more of these goddamn videos in the league office. Let's go ahead and let's get them a little grace and make it
Mm-hmm.
possible for them. I'm not saying it was a setup, but when you turn in 78 films to the league office and then you win the next game, I mean,
Hey man, there still was controversial calls in that game. I mean,
true.
you know what?
It's
It's
always going to
crazy.
be, yeah. It's just
How
so.
come the sports where it's majority black players, there's always this conspiracy theory that the games are fixed?
I don't.
You ever
I don't.
notice that? Basketball, you always hear that in basketball. The games are fixed. They're fixing the games. And sometimes you hear it in football as well. Oh, they send a certain referee to the game or officiating crew to the game because they want the calls to go in a certain way. We heard that with the Ravens and the Chiefs, that that was a big thing leading up to that game, that this official was coming to lead the officiating crew. He calls a whole bunch of holding. So everybody was like, the Ravens, they sunk because this guy, he calls all these. Am I lying?
You're not lying, but so it's hard to hold it to black sports. And I'll say this, because the guy officiating with the Ravens, they said he doesn't favor the home team. Who lost?
Right.
The
The
home
whole
team.
team.
And in
Exactly.
basketball, we might say, why do they always think games are fixed? Well, we just had a guy that just got banned from the league for fixing his stats for the gambling. We had Tim Donaghy, the
Yeah,
ref,
that's right.
admittedly. I mean, because the proof has been there. Now, don't take away baseball, though, because baseball does have Pete Rose. Baseball does have
Yeah, but you don't hear
12
it on
men, 8 men out.
a big scale of them saying umpires. Oh, this crew is
Well,
coming.
in baseball, because the umpires just flat out suck.
Yeah,
They
that's true.
basically that's because they can't fix it, because they don't even know what they're doing anyway. They just flat out.
And you don't
suck.
hear it in hockey.
That's because hockey let people fight. Like hockey let them get at
That's
it.
crazy.
Let them
Fighting
get
is a
at it.
part of the game. They were highlighting on Sports Center the other day a fight during the playoffs. Like, yeah, this guy, he's got all these years of fighting and experience, but this guy, he's never had any fighting penalties. And they did a whole segment around this. But if that happened in that Knicks Pacers game, we would have a congressional hearing about violence in sports.
Yeah, hockey let them get at it. They literally sign players that are enforcers. They literally sign them to be enforcers. So hockey let them get at it. I mean, I don't know if it's fixed. I think it's when it comes to playoff basketball and with the scale that the Pacers, even though they didn't say it, but with the scale that the Pacers were trying to imply that they were favoring the Knicks, you just kind of got to side eye them a little bit. Like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, y'all need to chill. Y'all basically lost those 2 games. So
right. Okay, all right. The Cavs, they stole one in Boston and they head home one with the series tied up 1-1 over the favorite Celtics. And have we overrated the Celtics, or is this going to be a gentleman's sweep?
This is par for the course with the Celtics. Like, it was
always give away the second game.
They always give away, and no one. So I would have thought anybody would have thought that it should have been a sweep with the Cavs, but it's something about Boston that they make things so difficult. I don't know what it is. On paper, they should be the most dominant team behind the Nuggets in the NBA. But for whatever reason, they like to make things difficult. And this isn't just this season. This is last season before that. Hence, they don't have any titles with Tatum and Brown. I mean, I have no idea, but I still got Boston winning this series. I don't think the Cavs, you gave the Cavs a little bit of confidence, but I don't see them winning the series.
I believe so as well. It's something about that second game. They did the same thing against the Heat. The Heat came out, I think they're a good defensive team, but the Heat came out and they had a great game from 3. The same thing happened the other night for the Cavs. They came out and they made the 3-point shots. That and Boston does shoot a lot of 3-pointers, and when the 3-pointers are not working for them, you can be in the game with them. But if they're shooting lights out, then you're going to have a difficult time winning. And so that's definitely what happened. I mean, Spider Mitchell, he's great. He can get a layup whenever he wants. My son Darius Garland, they just took my first name and gave it to him as a last name. He played well. But yeah, I am still anticipating that the Celtics are the team to win this series. I think they do win the next several, and it's a gentleman's sweep. But it's a good game. Again, you got the people with tinfoil on their head. That's what ABC and TNT and TBS. That's what they want. They want to keep on extending the game, so you get more games, more people watching it. But nah, man, that's why they play the games, right, Calvin? Because sometimes
that's why they play the games.
These are professionals. What did you think about what old boy said? Doc Rivers' son said about there are players that can come from the NBA and go play in the NFL right now. Austin Rivers. What do you think about that?
First of all, Austin Rivers. Let's start with Austin Rivers. What have you actually done in the NBA but be Doc Rivers' son?
Don't do him like that. Don't do him like
what have you ever done
don't
in the
do Austin
NBA?
Rivers like that.
Except be Doc Rivers' son.
That's not. Don't do it. He done dunked on some people now.
Let's start there. Like that. Now, in high school, I believe he was like the number 1 recruit in high school.
Yeah, I mean, he was a first round pick. I mean,
But what have you done in the NBA, Austin?
Although his father traded him, I mean,
Then, so and admittedly, I didn't pay much attention to Austin Rivers what he said. Now I did pay attention
mhm.
to a lot of the backlash that he
Yeah,
has.
people angry.
Um,
God.
yeah, it's what he gets paid to do. It doesn't really matter to me either way. I firmly believe that a lot of these professional athletes can go to pretty much any sport. I don't know if they would be dominant. Everybody's not Bo Jackson, everybody's not Brian Jordan.
Mhm.
If you remember, Brian Jordan played
Or even
Brian,
subprime.
yeah, they all played baseball
I'm
and
sorry, I'm gonna call him Dion for that
football.
one because he was a great two-way player.
no, no
Dion.
one no one has played no one has played basketball and football. Although there have been some names, they've always talked about LeBron could be a good tight end in
Mhm.
the
Yeah, the
NFL.
seasons are running concordantly, so you
Yeah.
couldn't do it. You couldn't do it.
But I don't. I believe that you could find some people. There's a lot of football players that would be dominant in basketball. May not be great, but I believe they can.
Mhm.
I don't. It's one of them things where you listen to it and you're just like, why are you out here insulting these players? First of all, you're little. Do you want to insult football players? Is that really what you want to do?
He's trying to get his clicks up. He's trying to
He
get his
about
clicks up.
he about to get his licks up. That's what he about to get.
He got to get them clicks
about
up.
to
Leave that man
about to
alone.
tear his ass up. What'd you think about it?
You know what? I think we'll never see another two-way player. I mean, not a two-way, a two-sport player anymore. I don't think we're going to see that in the next generation's lifetime because the demands on playing are too hard now. Like when Bo and Dion were doing it, you didn't have all these mini camps. Now, football was basically you got drafted, you went to training camp in July, and then you played the season. Now you got mini camps from March through maybe May. Then you got training camp in July. If you were playing baseball and football and you're on a winning team like Bo was, now Bo was on a team that made the playoffs with in football at least with the Raiders. Well, yeah, it was okay for the Royals to go ahead and let him go play football because the Royals sucked then. They were not a playoff contending team. But he was a major player on that team. So imagine if they were in the hunt for a wild card to make the play, because now you got more teams making baseball playoffs, and he wants to play football. That's going to be a very, very, very tough. Would you let your best player go and play football, knowing that you're trying to get a playoff berth? And so I think it's harder now because playoffs are expanded, more teams are in, and so you need your best players there dedicated. I think they were able to do it in the era where you can switch off. I mean, Dion, he was on the Falcons and the Braves. He was
Mm-hmm.
not the best baseball player on the Braves, and so it probably didn't cost the Braves anything to say, yeah, go ahead, you can go play your game because I mean they had Fred McGriff and Terry Pendleton and Andrew Jones. They had a Chipper Jones. They had Dion wasn't hitting 40 home runs. And so it was okay for him to go play football. But if Dion was a dominant player like a Fred McGriff or a Andrew Jones, I think it might have been a little bit more shaky for them to say, "Oh wow, we're in a World Series game today, but yeah, go ahead and play the Dolphins game first, and then fly back and play the World
Well,
Series game
but
with
he
us."
did. Dion did that. Dion
That's what I'm
played
saying.
the.
He did that. Well, he came and sat on the bench. He didn't play that game,
I
but he
think he
played
stole
the
a base that game. He came in and
okay.
stole the base.
He
And
played the football game early that day in
yeah,
Miami, and then he caught a plane to Atlanta, and he was on the
famously,
bench.
he famously helicoptered in and
Yeah,
stole a base.
yeah.
I
They did a
mean,
good documentary on that on ESPN. It was very good. I recommend it if you never seen it.
what's his name? Almost left football for baseball. He had the choice. Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray was supposed to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
a
yeah. Little man.
superstar pitcher. Yeah,
Yeah, he was the
superstar pitcher.
seventh round. He was a seventh draft pick in the first round for the
Yeah,
A's, but that football money was calling him.
he should have taken that baseball money. Just saying.
Little man can play. He hard to tackle because he's so small, and them little legs just to be running and whatnot. Little man, all right, he could play. He hadn't have
Yeah,
he hadn't had
I
some
can't.
great teams there.
I can't believe you keep calling this dude little man. That shit
Come
is
on,
so
man.
hilarious. That shit.
Little man be running with them look like a little kid in a onesie, like one of them snowsuit onesies, and he be running around.
That shit is so
Yeah, that's Kyler
hilarious.
Murray. NBA is started this award season, and Nikola Jokic was named MVP for the third time in the last 4 seasons. This season, he averaged 26 points per game, 12 boards, and he shot 58% from the field. Of course, this has started a lot of controversy, so much so that Shaq had to drop a diss track on Shannon Sharp. Come on. All right. I'll talk about Shaq later. We got Shaq. You're not Kendrick Lamar. This is not Kendrick and Drake. Okay. You expect Shannon's supposed to come back with a rap?
BBL Shizzy. That's what he should have
Right.
called. He should have came out.
Come on now.
He should have got Kenny to drop that BBL Shizzy on him. Somebody. No, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Do you agree with Joker being selected as MVP? Do you think it's deserved?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, who else was going to win it? Who else was going to win
SGA was there. He averaged 33. He was in the top 2 in scoring. He's got a young team in the playoffs. They won the number 1 seed in the West, a higher seed than the Nuggets. There's some merit out there that people saying that SGA played better.
There's no player in the league more dominant than Djokovic right now. Jokic, rather. I don't know why I keep calling him Djokovic. There's no player more dominant in the league now. And also with the NBA, we all know that for whatever reason, unless you have a totally outstanding season that separates you from everybody else in the league, the NBA has almost like a tier process. You got to be dominant more than 1 year to actually overtake these awards. I don't know what it is, but there have been so many years where you look and be like, maybe such and such could have or should have won that, but they don't unseat the player that is winning it. So I think SGA has a good chance of winning it next season, but this season belonged to Jokic.
Okay. All right. The league in scoring with 33.9, and I'm looking at the stats right now. And SGA, he averaged 30.1, just a shade under Giannis, who averaged 30.4. And so, yeah, that's enough. I think it warranted a conversation. I think, a young player taking a young team, no one's expecting them to win the West. They win the West. And he's shown some consistency as a key player. This is not just a flash in the pan. I'm doing it during the regular season and I'm building up stats, and then I get to the playoffs and I sink out. He's been still doing the same things he was doing in the regular season in the playoffs. But I agree with you. I think Jokic is the most dominant player right now in the game. And although Denver did not get the number 1 seed, they are the defending champions. He still kept up a same level of play and is, probably more instrumental on that team than maybe SGA is in OKC. But he was selected MVP. Rudy Gobert, he won Defensive Player of the Year. This is the second time that he's won that award in his career. He averaged 12 rebounds per game and 2 blocks per game as well. Now, we had a big little controversy earlier in the week about Gobert because he missed one of the second playoff game in Denver because his wife was having their first child, and so he wanted to be with his wife for the first child. Was this the right move by Gobert?
Yeah, man. Like, first of all, Gilbert Arenas, just shut the fuck up, Gilbert.
Right.
Like,
A loser. A guy that's never won anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It's like if you remember when we played softball, one of the things that our team used to say, we were the Baltimore Grays then, we used to always say Softball team comes first. One of our
Right.
mottos was God, graze, and then
Grace
everything
and
else. So
everything
when
else.
people be like, I can't make a game because it's my son's birthday, it'd be like, that little motherfucker have another birthday next year. You better come out to this goddamn softball game. But it's
Right.
all jokes, man. This is a life event, and it's Gobert's first child. So no, he absolutely made the right decision.
Yeah, you
if
don't you
if
don't get other opportunities like that. I'm
you
sorry. You
if
don't.
it were an elimination game, then maybe we can have the
Right.
conversation. Because I'm not even saying he goes to the elimination game. Maybe we have the conversation. But yeah, you do
It,
what's best for you
and
and
the
your
crazy
family,
thing,
sir.
they blew them out that second game. It wasn't even close. But then he comes back. He's there for the third game, and they get blown out last night. So what does that mean? Maybe he should have stayed away with the baby.
Wife ain't have another baby. That's what they probably looked at him in the locker
Right.
room. Your wife ain't
Is,
have another baby.
is she due tomorrow? Because you stay there with her.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So
Gilbert
yeah.
Arenas pissed me off with that one, man. Like
Yeah,
he
yeah,
just
yeah,
he
yeah,
pissed
yeah.
me
It's
off with
these
that.
people, and I think Chuck said something to Barkley. It's just when it's always the guys that are the fringe guys that never have really won anything, that always have these hard stances of, oh, he should have been there, he should have been there. Well, obviously it was okay because the franchise let him go, and it didn't hear anything from the players, and so it was okay for him to be there. Congratulations to Gobert on the birth of his first child. And Victor Wembanyama, he was selected as Rookie of the Year. He averaged 21 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 blocks per game. I don't think there's any controversy there. Big Vic, Big French, he really did it this season.
So you remember he started the season off pretty slow. Like people were
Yeah,
questioning,
they
was
was a
he
little
should have
worried.
been that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was easy. That's an easy pick.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
even, like you
yeah.
said, wasn't even close.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. I know that Holmgren was eligible because he did not play. He got injured and he did not play the previous season because this is Holmgren's second year. Last year was supposed to have been his rookie year, but then he something happened with his foot in training camp, and so he was eligible. But no, Victor Wembanyama. I mean, he's doing sham gods in the post, and yeah, he's everything that you would imagine. It's like Kareem that can shoot threes, block shots, and has a handle. I mean, it's crazy. And so yeah, I want them to get some players around him though. I don't want him to waste his best years in San Antonio. So I hope that there
Well,
be a player in the free agent market. They need some players around him so they can start getting to the playoffs game. They can't do another season of no playoffs.
yeah, I mean that's all fine and good. Let them do another season and no playoffs, and then have him traded to the Lakers. We'll trade him for Anthony Davis.
See, that's
We,
y'all poachers. That's what y'all always waiting for. Laker fan, they always waiting for somebody else to fall, or Nick fan, because I'm sure they're saying that in New York. Let them keep on losing, then we can put him with Brunson, and he can come on over here. Everybody want to be in New York.
at this point, I'll trade LeBron and Anthony Davis for Victor. Let's just start the whole rebuild movement right now. Let's just start
Right.
it right now.
Oh God, yeah. Don't let him go to LA. Bum Bev, he was suspended. That's my new nickname for Pat Bev.
I,
Bum Bev.
I see.
Bum Bev has been suspended 4 games by the NBA for his behavior in the press conference after the Bucks lost to the Pacers in the first round of the playoffs. And something else happened during the weekend. The Nets' Jamal Murray, he was fined $100,000 for throwing several items on the court during their game 2 loss to the T-Wolves. And so were both of these disciplinary actions correct? Should Bum Bev have been suspended? And is that $100,000 fine enough for Jamal Murray, or should he have been suspended a game or two?
So Jamal Murray, I don't know if that warrants a suspension. It I guess you can't judge by what the projectile is or how close it comes. I think as a first offense, because I do believe it is his first offense and there's no injuries, I think you can just fine him and move on with it. When it comes to Pat Bev, so I believe the real suspension was for his interaction with the fans, throwing that basketball. They
Hmm.
added that secondary reporter situation in there, which I don't think they really can, because I think their requirements are just availability, and he was available, and just his wording, I don't think, although it was awful, it was trash. I don't
Hmm.
think it warrants any type of suspension. So I think they tacked on, but that interaction with the fan, where you're literally throwing basketballs at fans, yeah, man, you got to get suspended. Like, you can't. The one thing the NBA cannot have is another even inkling of a malice in the palace that literally almost destroyed the NBA, as we
Sure,
know it.
sure.
So they can't have anything like that. So it definitely warranted a suspension.
I think, Jamar Murray should just thank the timing of the season. If this was the regular season, I think he catches a game.
You think so?
I think so. It's the playoffs. It's a fix. It's they're not going to suspend one of the best players on the defending champions a game for doing what he did. But if it was during the regular season, he probably would have caught a game, maybe one game. But I don't think it would have been multiple. And Pat Bev, yeah, you can't have that interaction with fans. You can't be throwing a
Cannot.
basketball at 100 miles per hour to a fan sitting right behind you because you mad. And yeah, because I think it's more so for that than it was
Right.
to telling the ESPN producer, hey, step out of the thing
Yeah.
because you don't subscribe to my podcast. I think you can be ignorant in the interview, but you can't throw a ball at a
You just got to
fan.
be available for the
Right,
for the
you just got to be
media. You
physically
just got
there,
to
and
be
he was
available. That's
he
it.
was
And
there.
he was there.
He was there. They recorded it, but yeah, you can't throw a basketball at a fan. So check it as hard as you can. But yeah, yeah, Jamal Murray. Yeah, just thankful you're in the playoffs because yeah, you might have saw a game or two. Now we're going to go to one of my favorite segments, Garland's Music Corner. I've been doing a little good with this. I'm trying to be consistent and stuff, and so I'm a shift. I'm gonna do something different today because I'm a hip hop head. The hip hop professor. I love all things rap, but there's something that I love more than rap actually, and it's Stevie Wonder. And Stevie Wonder's birthday is coming up. Stevie Wonder's birthday is on May the 13th. And so for this music corner, we're going to talk about Innovisions. Now, Innovisions is the third studio album in what was called a 5 album genius period for Stevie Wonder. He did 5 albums. It was Music of My Mind, Talking Book, Innovisions, Fulfilling This First Finale, and Songs in the Key of Life. He released all 5 of these albums in a row. Now, all of these albums have hits. I mean, he basically put out 5 straight albums that are most people's catalogs. Okay. And so Innovisions, it was released in August of 1973, and there's 9 tracks of Innovisions, and it encompasses a wide range of themes and issues. You have drug abuse and Too High. You have inequality and systemic racism and living in for the city, To Love and the Ballads of All Is Fair in Love, and Golden Lady. And the album's closer, He's Mr. Know It All, is an attack on then U.S. President Richard Nixon. And so Living City was one of the first soul music songs to deal explicitly with systemic racism and to incorporate everyday sounds of the street, such as traffic, voices, sirens, and with the music recorded in the studio. Now, because I'm a big Stevie Wonder fan, I used to say, and I used to say that this was my favorite Stevie album. I love this album. I listen to it all the time. And then when Stevie was on tour several years ago, when he did Songs in the Key of Life tour, he went on tour and he performed the entire Songs in the Key of Life album from beginning to the end. I had to rebuke myself because then I was like, actually, no, Songs in the Key of Life is Stevie Wonder's greatest album. That's the most commercially loved album. If you ask anybody what Stevie Wonder album you love, most people will say Songs in the Key of Life. And but I'm a hardcore. Nah, it's in the vision. No, it's music of my mind. I'm gonna go back. I'm a gently step back, and I'm still say in the visions for me is Stevie's best album. I just love that album from beginning to end. Too High, Golden Lady. When I do karaoke, I always pick a Stevie Wonder song. I just love his voice. I love his tone. I love the messaging and the songwriting, the music. Just a super talented artist. It's not too many artists that we're getting five classic albums in a row. And so each of those albums really speak to different times, different moods, all those things. And so Inner Visions, Happy Birthday Stevie, coming up next week. Third album of the five album Genius period. If you got a chance, go pull it out, pull it up on your favorite music platform and take a listen today.
Hey, me and me and the wife were fortunate to get some tickets to see Stevie Wonder the last time he came here to Baltimore, which was down what was then the
Right. And that was the
First
Songs in the
Mariner
Kid Life
Arena.
tour.
Yeah, it was
Hmm.
amazing concert.
Hmm.
Stevie's not jumping up and dancing
No,
around or
no,
anything
we're
like
not
that,
doing all that.
but he just sat there with his piano. He had the video board behind him,
Hmm.
had the dancer. It was just one dancer I can remember.
Yeah. She came out and did a dance.
Yeah.
And when we saw him, we went up to Philly to see the concert, and
Mhm.
India Irie came out, did a
I was about
song
to
with
say
him.
he had
Yeah,
some
she
guests
came
come
out.
out.
Yeah. So
It
yeah,
was a
that
great
album was
concert.
very instrumental. Yeah,
Um,
Stevie's great. If you get to see Stevie live, it's definitely
have
a
to
thing to
see
see.
him. One of the one of the must sees. And we're unfortunately we are getting older, so one of the must sees before someone goes. I never got a chance to see Michael Jackson. I did get to see Prince and
Hmm.
Janet and also, but the people that are you really, I mean, icons that you really have to see. And Stevie spans generations. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
talking about a living legend, a guy that goes from the early days, well, the later
Yeah,
heydays of
he was a
Motown.
child star.
Yeah,
He was a child star in the '60s in Motown. Then
yeah.
he transitioned. Voice began to change. He kind of was fading out, and then he gets creative control of his music, and he embarks on this five album journey that basically makes him an icon.
And if you don't know anything else about Stevie Wonder, which I wouldn't imagine you wouldn't, but if you don't know anything else about Stevie Wonder and you're black, you just know that there are two birthday songs out, but
Yes,
there's only
exactly. I was
one.
getting ready to say that.
There's
There's only
only
one we sing.
one for black people, and that is the Stevie Wonder
Hmm.
birthday song. So yeah, man, shout
Yeah.
out to Stevie Wonder. Real
Shout out
good
to Stevie. Yeah. Shout
yeah.
out to Stevie. So yeah, man, listen to some Stevie today. You get an opportunity to make your day better. Trust me.
Yeah,
All
definitely
right.
appreciate that.
So we're at a point that everybody loves of our show. It's Come On Yo. And so Calvin, you kick us off because I started this off last week.
Man, oh man, oh man! I got quite a few of them that I just been I've been trying to figure out which one would be
Hmm.
most relevant and which one would be most pertinent. So let me just say this. Let me just say this. Brandon Hyde in the Orioles bullpen. You are lucky that my come on yo is going to shift. So if you are out here walking this earth, if you are out here breathing this air, if you're able to smile, if you're able to laugh and cry and all, you have one person to thank for that. Biologically, you have two, but you have one person to thank for that,
Oh,
and that is your mama. So come
mama.
on, yo. Let's stop being out here disrespecting our moms by not living a decent life. And I'm not
Hmm.
necessarily talking about
Mm.
law abiding citizen. I'm talking about a happy life, appreciating the things that are out here, appreciating the things that we have. There are so many of my friends that are not going to be able to celebrate the way that we are tomorrow. There's so many of my friends that wish they could physically hold on to their mom. So come
Hmm.
on, yo, stop acting like you own the world, you run the world. Respect your mom. And for those of us that do respect and love our moms, continue to. And tomorrow, hold on to them. Also, don't forget your friends that don't have their moms to physically be with. Send them a word of encouragement, a word of love, even if it's just, hey, I'm thinking about you. It means a lot to them. So come on, yo. Let's
Yeah,
respect
yo.
everybody.
Calvin's a man of his word. He sent me something yesterday, man. I appreciate that. I just want to say it over the broadcast and all. Very encouraging. A couple people have reached out to me as well. I will not physically have my mom with me for the first Mother's Day of my life tomorrow, and it'll be a week on next Friday of her transition. It'll be a year of her transition on next Friday, and so it's definitely a difficult time, for the family. Last Mother's Day, we went to Top Golf. And we got video of my mom swinging the club. She didn't know what she was doing, but she was just there for the fellowship and the food. And so, just having a good time. It was a beautiful day. I think I took my wife to go see Anita Baker and Babyface concert was that day as well. And so it was a full day. And then several days later, my mom had transitioned. And so Tupac said we got our name from my mama and our game from my mama.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, moms are the foundation. I just thank God for my mom because she was definitely my foundation. And so I definitely dedicate this one to you, mama. I love you. Um, Come on, yo. Glenn Big Baby Davis and Brett Favre. Oh God, Big Baby. Former NBA forward Glenn Big Baby Davis, he was sentenced by a federal judge on Thursday to 40 months in prison, plus 3 years supervised release for his November 2023 conviction in an alleged scheme to defraud the league's health care benefits plan. 22 people, 18 of them former players, including Terrence Williams. I think he used to play for the Raptors, and Keon Dooling, he used to play for the Magic, have been sentenced in the case for filing false medical claims with the NBA Players Health and Benefits Welfare Program. In February of this year as well, Mississippi State Auditor, they filed court papers renewing their call for Brett Favre to repay the state welfare system for the money that auditor says was improperly spent on projects backed by the retired NFL quarterback. The auditor said in 2020 that Favre had improperly received $1.1 million in speaking fees from a nonprofit organization that spent welfare money with approval from the Mississippi Department of Human Services. The money from the TANF program, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, was to go towards a volleyball arena at the University of Southern Mississippi, where Favre's daughter was on the volleyball team. Mississippi prosecutors have said millions of federal welfare dollars for low-income residents were squandered on the projects supported by wealthy or well-connected people from 2016 through 2019. And a lawsuit in 2022 said that the projects, supported Favre with $5 million for the volleyball arena and $1.7 million for the development of a concussion treatment drug. Now, no criminal charges were ever brought against Brett Favre, although he has made some restitution. He is still fighting the state auditor, and he sued some others because he still doesn't want to pay back the money that earned an interest on it, which is close to $1 million. I saw something on Calvin, like a little GIF or a meme, I guess it was, of people. Oh wow, Big Baby, he going to jail, but Brett Favre ain't going to jail. Is this a shock to you? Come on, y'all. We live in America where there are two systems. One system and how they address people of color. The legal system addresses people of color versus people of non-color, white people, differently. Brett Favre took federal money to help build a volleyball stadium for his daughter. No formal charges have been filed against him. But Baby Davis, he didn't steal from the poor. He just defrauded the system. He tried to get a up on the system. He tried to get a hookup, and he's going to jail for the next 3 years. One, we can't do what the other people do. All right, so let's not use that as an excuse. Let's get that out of the way, because a lot of times we be like, "Well, the white man can do it. We can do it too." No, dumb. we can't break the law just because the white man break the law. Okay, and we should know we can't break the law because the white man gonna do us different than the white man that breaks the law. So Yeah, no, Big Baby was stealing from a system that he really didn't need to steal from. He wasn't stealing from poor people. He was just stealing from a pension fund. Now, yes, I believe Favre, he should have got some charges. He ain't never gonna be charged with nothing. He ain't never gonna see a day inside of a cell or anything like that. But it's unfortunate that you have a guy, Big Baby Davis. He had a career. He got a couple of moments in the NBA. As a matter of fact, I saw in the article as I was reading to prepare for this, he was saying that basically he told the judge that after basketball, I basically didn't have a life. And when you have people that live that way and they can't find another way, then they result to doing things that probably they wouldn't do in the same mind. And so, come on, yo, these are not the same things. And yeah, I think Favre should be legally pursued, but we're not going to see it because we live in an America that has a dual justice system. But what Big Baby did was a crime. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time.
I'm gonna have to give and I'm gonna give Big Baby Davis some credit. He taking it in stride.
He is. He's
he
like, I guess
joked
I'm gonna get
about it.
skinny in there.
Yeah, he joked about it, and he,
Nah.
unlike Brett Favre, he's not sitting here blaming everyone else, saying it's their fault. Unlike Brett Favre, who's still has not taken accountability
Right.
for what he's done. Brett Favre should also be brought up on bribe charges, but that's a totally different.
Yeah,
Totally
it's
different
crazy,
case.
but I want to dispel this, Calvin. Jail is not a country. Prison is not a country club. Prison is not a LA Fitness. It's not going to the Y. It's not going to a timeshare, bro. I teach in the prison, and I thank God every time I get to walk out because prison, you have when your freedom is taken. I be thinking like, wow, what's that weekend? What they doing on a Saturday? They in their cells. I got the freedom. I can go do some things today. I can go
Hmm.
shopping. I can flick on the TV. I want to go get something out the refrigerator. I can. You don't have that freedom in prison. You just can't get up and go and do and move as you want to do. You're under the supervision of the state, and it ain't sweet. And so I feel bad for Baby because Baby think he going to a weight loss clinic. When you in that cellar, you can't get up and flick on your flat screen.
he
You gonna figure it out.
he knows. He's just
That's the
you
dumbest
know.
thing. I saw the little clip. I'm like, what? But I think that's also on the street, Calvin. People think, I'm going, my people's in there, Nah, man. I think Tupac said it. He couldn't write when he was in prison. He said it was depressing. It's depressing. He said I ain't have no creative energy sitting in the cell. People think I'm in here writing an album. I can't write no daggone album up here in this cell. Yeah, man. Anyways, hey, I heard the shot starting this weekend.
I think it started last night.
Yeah, I
The
got, I
premiere
got, I
was the
got
10th.
we got a message on our Facebook page from one of our fans when y'all gonna start reviewing. So
Oh
I'm
boy.
down for a Tuesday or next week. Maybe we let two shows go and we can get it on a Monday.
Well,
But
Tuesday we got the baseball game
oh,
Tuesday.
I forgot about Tuesday. So
Yeah,
we
we
might
got.
have to go. We might have to do two shows
Might have to
in
let it
one.
drop too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I forgot about the baseball game because my last class is on Monday, so I can't do it on Monday, and then we're going to the game on Tuesday.
Yeah, so let's just let two shows drop and then we
Yeah.
can come back
All right,
around
y'all. We
on
coming back with
next
the
Monday.
shy. The people
Yes.
want it. The
People
people
want the
want it.
shop. Make sure y'all tune in. That's going to be interactive. You'll be
Mhm.
able to send us your messages with that and tell us what you think on our opinions of the shy. Garland already going in. He don't like the shy because that's just
Bro, I'm seeing
him.
too many new characters in a daggone fifth season. It's too many
Listen,
new characters. I'm
they
already
got
against it.
they got Michael Ealy in there, man. Michael Ealy is a Terp also. Did you know Michael Ealy
I
went
didn't
to
know
our
that.
college park?
I didn't know that.
Katina was there with him when he was at a college
I don't
park.
get down with
So
PWIs, and
yeah,
so Tell me he went to Howard or Hampton or Morehouse or something. I don't care if he went to. I'm sorry, Katina. Happy Mother's Day to you too. But anyway,
that makes him pseudo local. Pseudo local kind of transplant.
Did he go to Maryland Eastern Shore? Did he go to Cottman or Morgan? Okay, he ain't going nowhere.
Hey, so we'll definitely
fry.
Thank you all for listening. As I mentioned, this is live on YouTube right now. You will be able to see us on all the podcast platforms. And if you have Spotify, you can actually see us. You can see the video.
Worry about them light eyes.
You see this light skin on light skin crime that's going on right now, right? I'm out of it. You know, they infight. They infighting y'all. They infighting y'all.
Light skin crime. You know, we got the paper baggers over here. Don't make me pull out the paper bag and see what type of light skin he is.
They infighting. Just sit back and let them destroy themselves.
The darkies be infighting too. You ain't real chocolate. You ain't all the way dark.
We do, but when Drake and Chris Brown came out and hit us real hard a couple weekends ago, we ain't know what we was gonna do. Thank God for Kendrick coming back and helping us out, because Chris Brown's still on top in his battle. Like he ain't even getting no response.
Right. Yeah. So I ain't worried about no Michael Ealy.
Anyway, let me hit this outro music and let Garland continue to be mad about his light-skinned brethren.
You have been listening to the B.I.G. Show. This show was produced and written by Calvin Coates and Garland.
Happy Mother's Day to all the ladies out there. Happy Mother's Day. Enjoy. We hope you have a great weekend.
Thomas, I love you. Paula, happy Mother's Day to you too.
Happy Mother's Day, Paula. All right, man, later.